Hello, good morning, and welcome to the latest edition of my podcast, Living with Mitochondria Against All Odds, which is in relation to the book, my autobiography. My name's Ian, and I'm going to talk to you about another thing that's in the book today. Before I do that, can I just remind you all that I'm doing a climb up Snowdon. I'm using an all-terrain wheelchair to do this, and a few people are helping me. This is happening in July, hopefully, no, June or July this year. I've got a group of people, a team of people that are going to help me. And you can find more information about that if you go to my book website, which is MITRE Action, www.mitreactionman.co.uk, and there's the videos, there's information about these podcasts, and information about the climb up Snowdon. So please check that out. We are doing it for charity. I'm doing it for REMAP. I'm a volunteer for REMAP, help with fundraising, and REMAP make bespoke gadgets for disabled people and older people. And also I'm doing it for mitochondria awareness, and the Lilly Foundation, which is one of the mitochondria charities. I have mitochondria, and so do 10,000 other people in the country. So, and not many people know about it, so we're trying to gain awareness of mitochondria. And anyway, what I was going to talk to you today about was the first ever bungee jump I did. Now this was at Manchester Keys. This was in this country. I still get emails from the company now, and it was one that I could do. I'm in a wheelchair, and I could stay sat in my wheelchair. I transferred, and it was like a cage, and then I went up, and I was sat in the harness in this cage, and then I jumped out of the cage, and then when we got to the ground, my wheelchair was waiting for me at the ground level. That was, as I say, that was in Manchester Keys. I distinctly remember that day because one of my brother-in-laws and his carer took me out there, and we ran out of petrol on the way home. We were on a fast road, and we had to get out of the car because obviously I think it was on the single carriage road as well. So there was chance of us getting knocked. So we had to get out of the car, and so it was it was quite a manoeuvre was that, just kind of getting out of the car, and then got my wheelchair out of the boot so I could sit in my wheelchair. So that was quite an adventure. And it, like I said, I was at Manchester Keys, and I think they do it there all the time. These bungee jumps. The other one I did was in Switzerland, and we went out and then had to we flew to Switzerland and we had to get an internal flight, and all the internal aeroplanes over there look like ones you get from the newsagents, or what you used to be able to get from newsagents, like polystyrene ones. These weren't polystyrene, thank goodness, but they still had the propellers on the wings, and that was quite scary. I mean, I'm not one that's frightened of flying, but that was a bit scary, was that. But it's just something that you're not used to. I think in other countries they use planes like that for internal flights. It was like a bus, but obviously with wings. And when we did it in Switzerland, it was a much nicer day than the one in Manchester. And yeah, if you watch, I think it's GoldenEye, James Bond at the beginning of GoldenEye, they use that same bungee jump, and obviously it's got famous through that, so it's like the James Bond bungee jump. And I went dressed as 007, waistcoat and dicky belt, and no one batted an eyelid. No one said, "Oh, why are you dressed like that?" I couldn't believe it, and but yeah, it was that was an experience. And when the morning when we went, it would seem to be in the middle of nowhere. We had to get we had to get a train and then 2 or 3 buses, and we found them, and yeah, it was incredible. But yeah, that was. And when I did that bungee jump, I told very few people about doing it. My family, I told after I'd done it, because I knew they would be worrying like mad. But yeah, I think I've maybe touched on that one in another episode. I can't quite recall when it was, but the main thing I was telling you today about was the one I did in Manchester. So anyway, please enjoy, and I'll hopefully see you soon. This is in my podcast relating to the book Living with Mitochondria Against All Odds, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.